Okay.
Thank you. So I am going to talk to you today about curveballs. Life throws us curveballs. There is no denying it. We can't get over it. And when I speak to my clients, I basically tell them, look, I can't stop life throwing shit at you. I'm going to use the word shit quite a lot during this presentation, so I hope you're okay with it. I can't stop life throwing shit at you. What I can do is I can give you the tools that enable you to cope with life when it goes tits up. I want to share with you my July 2023. So on the 3rd of July, my husband Mark was diagnosed with COPD. Google it, it's horrendous. It is literally a life sentence, and it's a very horrible, horrible death. I wish I hadn't Googled it, but he was diagnosed with COPD. On the 7th of July, 4 days later, I fell out of a tent and I broke my shoulder in 3 places and I dislocated it. On the 14th of July, I had an operation on that shoulder. On the 14th of July, Mark went to the doctor. It was also his birthday on that day. Do not ask me what we did. I do not have a clue. On the 17th of July, Mark had bloods taken. On the 18th at 2 o'clock in the morning, we get a phone call from the hospital saying he needs to go immediately into hospital because he has blood clots on the lungs. 19th, Mark goes into hospital. I go with him. He does have blood clots. The good news is it's not COPD. I think we are probably the happiest people to be diagnosed with blood clots in the world. Mark goes into hospital that day, and my parents need to come up to look after me and the kids because I literally cannot do anything. On the 20th, Mark comes out. At some point, the kids broke up from school. Don't ask me when, I have no idea. On the 21st, our kitten decides to go off on an adventure. She turns up 13 days later, on the 3rd of August. My July 2023 was an absolute shitstorm. And I kept asking myself these questions. What else can go wrong? Why me? What have I done to deserve this? How much more can I take? Anyone else relate to these questions? I am sure at one point in your life you have asked yourselves these questions. I was in severe pain. I was taking codeine, paracetamol, ibuprofen 3 times a day. I couldn't sleep, couldn't do anything. I just felt completely useless. I have no idea what summer 2023 looked like. I spent July, August, September sat on the sofa feeling very sorry for myself. And I was on because of depression. But what did I learn from this experience? The first thing I would say to you is if you do have curveballs thrown at you, and I know that some of you in this group have, give yourself some time. Do not try to deal and try and analyze these curveballs until you have healed. I'm 8 months in, and actually this was quite a cathartic exercise for me to do last week, was to look back at my summer of 2023. But I do suggest that at some point you do look back at some of these episodes in your life and just try and see if you can learn something from them. So what did I learn? Life can be shit, and sometimes you just need to roll with it. Being in pain is debilitating. Nobody understands what you're going through. Even if they've been through something similar themselves, they're not you. They do not understand. They can try, but they do not. A curveball can cause physical and mental trauma, and you need to address them both. Carrying trauma around is not good. You do need to deal with it because it can make you ill. And this is something, again, I realized last week. I am carrying a lot of mental trauma. I've skimmed over my accident. There is so many sub-stories within that 3 or 4 days, and I need to deal with it. I'm lucky I have a friend who's an NLP coach, so she's going to deal with my trauma, and I'm going to deal with her trauma. So you need to deal with trauma when you're ready to face it. Camping is dangerous. Don't do it. I have an amazing network of friends and family who dropped everything for me. I realized that my network of friends was much larger than I thought it was, and many of you are here today. I am lucky. I have the knowledge, the tools, and the experience to help me drag myself out of the depth that I was going towards. Having been diagnosed with depression before, I knew what was coming, but I also knew that I had the tools and the knowledge to stop me going there. Sitting down gives you time to think, to reflect, time that I wouldn't have taken. If I was going to take 3 months off, the summer was the best time to do it because it's my quietest time. I finished with my last client the day before my accident. I had no more clients booked in. What is the universe trying to tell me? August is quiet anyway, and I tend to beat myself up and run around like a headless chicken trying to find new clients. I didn't need to do that this year. I just sat and I rested. The accident gave me time to think about me and my business. I started my business in January 2020. When I first started, my goal was to help as many as women as possible to be happy. COVID had other ideas, so I stepped away from that. This time gave me time to reflect. It gave me time to go back to what I wanted to do, to think about how can I help more women to be happy. One-to-one coaching is amazing. However, it's limited. It's limited by my time, it's limited by my resources, it's limited by whether people can invest in me. This is where Female and Fabulous was born. I used my tools and my experience and my knowledge to pull myself out of that hole. And it suddenly dawned on me that actually this is the vehicle that I have to enable more women to make changes, to embrace their life, to move forward, and to make the positive changes that they want to make with my help and guidance without having to make that one-to-one investment. And more importantly, it worked for me. It pulled me out of the depths. And if it can work for me, it can work for anyone. So what are my takeaways? Life can be rubbish. Don't hold on to trauma. Reframe the event if you can. What can you learn from what's happened? What one good thing has come out of this event? What positive impact did it have on you? And as I said before, give yourself time, because when you do look back, you may not be ready to see it because it's still too raw. Give yourself at least 6 months and then look back. If you can't do it, give yourself a break, take another couple of months and then look back. We can learn from these events, even if that lesson is live. You know, sometimes we sit here and we think we're going to live forever. Actually, not everybody does. Nobody lives forever. But the only thing that you know you're going to have is right now. So maybe start living rather than existing. Maybe that's the lesson that we all need to learn. Don't get me wrong, I never want a month like July 2023 again, but it happened. And I've been able to find some positives from those events. Life throws you curveballs. We can't stop them, but we can try and learn from the experience, and we can try to find a positive. Thank you.
Brilliant, Yvonne. Thank you very much. I'm going to stop recording now. Let's do stop recording.